ready to start.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Tejas. I'm from 2.0, and welcome to today's session, the 16th session of Biochar Series done by Shekru TV, Shekru Foundation, and 2.0 Farms. Shekru Foundation and 2.0 Farms together on Shekru TV have been doing this series on biochar that features different stakeholders in the biochar and carbon dioxide removal space. This series is in English right now with an interactive part, potentially in Hindi as well. It's done. It's done in Zoom with live streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So whoever is joining from different streams, you can post your comments and questions in the chat box in that particular medium. And this is free and no registration, and recordings of these sessions are available in the social media. So Shekru TV is an online agricultural extension arm of Shekru Foundation. Shekru has done over 1,250 sessions with various stakeholders, so far mostly in Marathi, but have now started their sessions in Hindi and English. The goal with these sessions is to present objective, contextual, and timely knowledge for the benefit of farmers and the larger ecosystem. So I really I'm very interested to introduce you to today's speaker. It's Naved ji from Ecosys. He's working in the biochar space around Bangalore region, and he has some very interesting low cost and distributed models that he has built, which can be put in the farmer communities. So I'm very excited to hand on the mic to Naved ji and learn a lot about his journey and his biochar experiences. Before this, he has started and exited a couple of startups based in Dubai and in publishing, I believe. So we'd love to learn how he has made his switch to climate and biochar space from a completely different ecosystem. And I believe he's also living out of his farm, which is really wonderful. So we'd love to understand the journey and see what he has to share. Naviji, thanks for joining us, and the stage is yours.
Hi everyone. I like they just said, I have moved from a totally different kind of a career into climate action, but it's not something that is very surprising because I have always been interested in living in a very natural environment. When I was 25, 26, I quit my job and I went to the Nepal border and I lived in a village for 3 years there. I was trying to see whether, and it was a wonderful time for me. We had no running water, no electricity. I was living in a thatched hut, and but it was wonderful because such a beautiful place. Unfortunately, I discovered very quickly that farming does not pay well, and farmers always live on the edge, and they never kind of make it because there are so many layers that take away the money that they make. So, so I so I was there for 3 years. After 3 years, I decided that if I want to live the way I want to, then what I need to do is basically have some money in the bank before I can go and do what I want to do. So I moved to Dubai in '97, and I was there for 15 years. I built two companies over there. One a publishing company. I was in advertising. I was a copywriter, so I was in that stream of work, and then I but my vision was always that I have to live in a village, away from the cities, away from the rush, and and it was not something that I wanted to do. Climate action was not something that was, an idealistic goal. For me, it was a very selfish uh, pursuit. I did myself wanted to live in a peaceful, quiet, you know, place where I did not uh, have to, face the urban problems that we're facing now. So it was a very selfish thing. In 2010, in 2008, we started building a place outside Bangalore, about 30, 40 kilometers outside Bangalore. And there we built a house and then we planted a forest. And today I live in a forest on a 6 acre piece of land. And so that was my objective, not have to live in a city. But when you live in a place like that, you learn a lot of things. You are always, exposed to what nature is doing around you, right? And and my objective was that I sell my companies, make some money, and then come back to India and put it uh, put it to some good use, in the sense that I started an NGO, and I did not know anything about climate action then, right? I was just a communications guy. I knew PR, I knew how to build a brand, how to do the messaging, how to uh, create strong communications. So I started consulting NGOs and and helping them understand how to communicate and how to build a build a brand, etc. I worked with about 30, 40 NGOs. So that happened 3, 4 years in a row, and then I got involved in a climate restoration company as a co-founder, and we started building, through that NGO network only. We started building food forests in government schools, and so you see, it's like an organic evolution. Uh, we started doing that. That work is still going on. In all this time, my whole focus or my whole search was how do I connect farmers, or how can we connect farmers, because farmers are the most Indian farmers. I don't know about African farmers or other farmers. I I I I believe everybody, all farmers in the world are in a bad shape. But since I was living in a village, my neighbors were farmers, my friends were not farmers, right? And I saw the kind of uh, struggle that they go through, right? On an average, an Indian farmer has a debt which is equal to about 3 times his annual income, right? So even if he has 3 good years, he will not be able to take off that debt. And that's the story across the board, everywhere, right? So what I want, and I was very interested in carbon markets because I saw that here is a instrument that can channel significant amounts of uh, financial stability to farmers, and it will also incentivize the farmers to align with more climate friendly practices. Right. Uh, Around 2018-19, I started experimenting with biochar because I heard about it, and I saw you know uh, small scale ways to make it. And I started making it. I started using it on my vegetable patch and my orchard, and I saw the results, and they were fantastic. And I started introducing it to my neighbors. I said, "Listen, you just need to buy a drum, and we just modify it. It'll just 2-3 thousand rupees, and you'll have a way to for you to convert your waste into biochar and start using it. So I started introducing it to my farmers, to my friends and neighbors, and that went on for a bit. But there was no methodology till that time. No registry had come up with a methodology that would you know generate carbon credits. At that time, the dominant registries were Vera and Gold Standard, right? And the methodologies that they had that worked with farmers were very expensive, right? I mean, $100,000 uh, is not an easy task, and there is no horizon in terms of when you will get the money. Uh, Farmers who had enrolled into those methodologies like FOLU and all of that uh, were 3-4 years down the line, they had not received any money, right? So it was a very difficult phase uh, for the carbon markets to connect with the farmers at that time. Then in 2022, Carbon Standards International came up with the first biochar-based methodology, and the moment they came up with that, I founded Ecosys, and I got a registration done with CSI, and we started working right with them, and generating biochar, generating carbon credits, and all of that. And so that's basically how I got into the carbon market uh, scenario.
Wonderful, Navid. Thank you. Thanks for going through. Do you want to? Usually, we do a long 30 to 40-minute presentation and then open this up for questions.
Okay,
Do you
okay.
want to
So let
share
me explain
something?
what we are doing right now,
Yeah.
right?
And if you have anything
Uh,
to share your screen and all, that will also be great. And the users can uh,
and no, let me just
get
talk.
in.
It's something that is very simple to understand. Now, we all know that there are two kinds of carbon credits. One is reduction, so you reduce your emissions and you get carbon credits, and then there is removal, which is what we are doing, right? And in the reductions, uh, there are a huge number of methodologies that chart your path from, how was your baseline in terms of what your emissions were, and then how did you reduce them, and then you account for that, and then you basically get a carbon credit. In reductions, we have, I think, about 8-10 pathways right now. And biochar has emerged as the dominant pathway in reduction in carbon dioxide removal industry because it is most effective. Uh, Direct uh, air capture and bags and uh, rock weathering, etc., have had some success, but biochar right now is 90% of the CDR carbon credits that are being issued. So it has promise in terms of implementation. Now, in the biochar-based carbon reduction, there are again two pathways, right? One is your distributed smallholder uh, farmer-based, village-based system, which is basically Carbon Standards International right now, although other people are coming up with distributed systems right now. But CSI uses the Contiki method to convert any kind of biomass into biochar, and that has been uh, the story till now in terms of the distributed small scale biochar. The other pathway is, of course, the industrial pathway, where you bring in feedstock to a central location. You have a kind of an industrial setup where your uh, pyrolysis reactor is placed. You process it, and you get biochar out of that, and you get syngas and bio oil also out of that, and you know, and you get your carbon credits that way. Now, what has happened is over the past 2 years or so, what uh, because the quantity method is distributed, you have a number of sites based in villages where small farmers or well, actually, if you look at it, not really small farmers. What is happening is project developers are deploying quantity kilns uh, in villages and processing the biomass waste. The farmers themselves are not doing it. At least I'm not aware of any place where the farmers themselves have started making biochar on their own in quantity kilns. Because quantity kilns, we've used quantity kilns um, extensively. And what happens is we're talking 700, 800 degrees of temperature. So what happens is the kiln does not really last. Uh, so we tried that, and then we discovered that it's better to do a quantity pit because that uh, has no metal in it. It's in the ground. It's cheaper because you just have to dig the hole properly and start using it. So, uh, so that's one part of the story. The second part is a lot of the quality of the biochar and the amount of emissions depend on operator skill. So, if the operator is skilled, meaning he knows how to layer the biomass, he knows how to uh, watch out for the flame curtain, right? He knows how to see that the ash is forming, and then he puts more biomass on top. So it's very you need a little practice, and you need to be very very careful about how you are handling that quantity process. Because of that, what has happened is most of the buyers of these credits, firstly, you can't, in a small holder quantity situation, you can't measure the emissions. The emissions, like I said, are primarily a function of how skilled the operator is. And if you're not monitoring the emissions in an open pit or an open kiln, then how does the buyer of that carbon credit know how much you actually captured and how much you actually emitted, right? Because of this anomaly, most of the buyers of these carbon credits have moved away from. I mean, today I saw somebody doing, you know, generating uh, 300, 400 carbon credits through a quantity kiln using the CSI method. When will they be able to sell those credits so that the farmers get their share? Because even large, uh, organizations like Varaha are not able to sell their quantity-based carbon credits because all the buyers are moving to industrial for the simple reason the evidence chain is very strong in the industrial sector. You know exactly the kind of feedstock you're getting, what is the moisture, how it is processed, at what temperature, how much were emissions, what came out, and where was it put. So the industrial actors are a lot more uh, equipped to give you a solid evidence chain, which is what a carbon credit is. Carbon credit is a promise that you remove this much carbon or you reduce this much carbon. Now, everybody will not take you on your word. What they need is evidence, right? So the evidence is provided by something which is non-human. It is it is data, right? Or or you know other digital stuff that you build into your evidence chain. Now, because of this, even people who were producing small scale distributed biochar on a village situation are moving away. Varaha is putting up 5 industrial uh, facilities, uh, and because they have the Microsoft 100,000 uh, tons of contract. Uh, Equilibrium has just signed a 180,000 ton contract with altitude, uh, and they are putting up a industrial unit, right? Uh, because the altitude does not want a small scale distributed village level carbon credits. And I can understand why they don't want it because it's a reputation thing, right? If they are selling the carbon credit to somebody who is you know on the Dow Jones uh, index or or a European stock exchange, you need to be aligned the with the requirements of those organizations. If your carbon credit is not uh, foolproof or has the evidence change that is needed, then it's worthless for them. And it's happened before, right? Carbon credits that have been issued by people even like Vera, uh, and we're talking like millions of carbon credits through afforestation projects in Brazil. Uh, 5 years later, you discover that they were all fake because what they said was happening was not happening. Right. So I understand why they're moving to industrial. So we had carbon credits from CSI, and then we couldn't sell them. Right. So then we discovered that okay, so this is the issue. Now there are two pathways for us we could have looked at and gone like everybody else. We could have gone to the industrial sector, you know, raise some money or put our own money and you know and gone that way. Or we could have looked at the problem and said, what can we do to solve it, right? So what uh, we looked at it very rationally and objectively, and we said the industrial pathway has a few problems, right? One is the capex. So the capital expenditure for setting up an industrial unit, the payback period is about 5 to 6 years, no matter which math you calculate it with, right? We don't know what the market is going to be after 5 6 years. Uh, will it be still as buoyant as it is today? Will the excitement be there, or or would the market have changed, or uh, you know, uh, anything can happen in 5 to 6 years. The second most important thing is industrial pathway. If you set up an industrial unit, you have to tune it to a certain kind of feedstock, right? So if your reactor is tuned to, let's say, rice husk, right, you can only do rice husk. You cannot do rice stalks. Now, if you go to a farmer and tell him, we can only do rice husk, we will not do, right? Or if you go to a farmer and say, I will only take your coconut shell, I will not take the coconut leaves. And he has like 150 acres of coconut, right? What does he do with the coconut leaves? He's going to burn it because there's nothing you can do with it, right? It doesn't become compost. You cannot feed it to the cows. What do you do? So, it might work very well for the carbon credit buyers, but it doesn't work for the farmer. The second problem with industrial is it cannot reach village level feedstock. Not every field, not every farmer, not every village can send its feedstock to an industrial unit because it is not within 5 kilometers. It is 30 kilometers, 50 kilometers away, right? So what we said was, how about we build a third layer of infrastructure where you can, it is deployed in a village, it is works in the village, it is accessible to the farmer, but it provides the level of evidence that an industrial unit does. So this thought process started about 2 years back, and we started working on it. When I say we started working on it, it is basically I started working on it, experimenting on it in my farm, right, in my forest, because there is no formal way to do this. I just have to experiment and see what I can do. And what so we did three things during these 2 years, right? First thing we did is which no project developer or no biochar operator is doing right now is first convincing the farmer that biochar is good for you, right? Only a few NGOs, etc., are doing this work. Nobody is taking the message to the farmer that listen, this is how you can convert your agricultural waste using a quantity because we're not talk when we go to a farmer we don't talk carbon credits at all, right? Because that's a big flag for them. If you tell them the moment you say carbon credit, they say we are not interested because we've heard this story before. Right? So what we do is we tell them, listen, you have this waste. I will come and I will teach you how to convert it into biochar without any cost to you. I will do the nutrient ingestion into the biochar myself, and you just do bring me the biomass, any kind of biomass, doesn't matter, right? I will convert it into biochar. I will put it in your field, in a section of your field, and in 30 days, if you don't see the result in my section of the field and the rest of your field, you don't have to do it. Okay. So what we have now is about 17, 18 clusters of farmers where they're already making biochar and using it because they see its impact. Right? And in three or four clusters, they've even started trading biochar. Right? So they have realized that this is really something that works for them, right? Because in 30 days you can see the difference in the plants. And if you pluck out the plant, you can see the difference in the root. And we're not talking like 5 year gestation period. If you use biochar for 5 years, which is what I've been doing for 8 years, right? The difference is, you cannot imagine what it does to your soil if it is used properly. So as time goes on, they're getting more and more convinced. So that was the first thing we did: build grassroots demand for biochar. The second thing we did was uh, invent, or rather put together. We didn't invent anything. We improved on existing physics and existing skills because I had no way to. I went everywhere and nobody was interested. I went to IASC, I went to ICAR, I went everywhere, but they were not interested in helping. So I said, forget it. I will do it myself. So I combined uh, different technologies that already exist, and I built a reactor. which can be built in a village situation by village level skills, can be maintained in a village situation by village level skills, right? So what do you need? You need a mason and you need a mild steel fabricator, which is everywhere in India. And we tested it and experimented and all of that. And once we figured out that yes, this is how it should be, uh, we filed a provisional patent for it. It's a very simple technology. The reason we filed the provisional patent for it is because if somebody sees that reactor and he knows a little bit about biochar, he will say, "Why didn't I think of it before?" It's that simple, right? It's common sense. And I don't want somebody to go and file a patent application and then exclude me from it. Right. So we said what we're going to do is in any case we're going to make it open source, but I don't want to be excluded from it. My network should not be excluded from it. So we filed a provisional patent and it's under testing now. Within 6, 8, I think we have another 10 months to go before the provisional patent expires. Before that, we have to file the proper patent application, right? Which we will do. But the testing is going on the first full-fledged reactor that we have built on my place. Yeah. That was the second thing we did. The third thing that we have to do is build in the sensors and the DMRV, the software, which is industrial grade. So in this reactor, we are going beyond what the best uh, registries require. People like Isometric or Bureau or uh, Rainbow. Uh, we are we are building in everything, the whole life cycle of the biochar batch. Where did the feedstock come from? What was the feedstock? How was it processed? The full video evidence of the processing of the uh, biochar. At what temperature was it processed? What were the emissions? What went in? What came out? And where was the biochar put? Right? So this is the evidence chain that the industrial buyers need, and we are going to now. What makes this this layer that we are building suitable for villages is one thing. It can be built and maintained in a village situation, so you don't have to call a technician from Bombay to repair it if something goes wrong, and things go wrong all the time. Right? We know in the field when you're there in a village situation, it's not easy. The second thing is the that reactor or that installation should be able to recover its cost not in 5, 6 years, but in 1.5 years, because that's a horizon we can see, right? If in 18 months you can recover the cost, only then it makes sense as a scalable model, because any scalable model must have commercial viability, not just climate. It must be commercially viable. So we looked at that and we said it should not exceed 5 to 6 lakhs because that's the throughput we are going to achieve. So the reactor itself costs about 1.5 lakhs. All the hardware and software layer costs about 1 lakh. And then you need some infrastructure. You need a water tank sitting next to it for the quenching. You'll need a shed to keep your feedstock dry, all of that. So within 5 to 6 lakhs, we can set up this reactor and all the ancillary uh, things that are needed for it, and you can recover that cost uh, in what 18 months, 12 to 18 months. So this is where we are. We are now working at deploying 5 of these reactors. in five different clusters where we are working already, where we have generated demand, where you know, and and by December, our testing and verification will be complete, and then we are going to uh, expand from 5 to 25 because it's only at that level that you can really discover what SOPs do you need, what are the problems that are going to come, how are you going to overcome those problems, right? What are the issues that the reactor will face, the software will face, the hardware will face, and the human layer will face. And so by December 2027, I think we will be ready. Uh, and registration of, we have chosen the distributed isometric methodology to go with because I think it's the most robust in terms of the evidence chain. And I think isometric is well aligned with the thought process that we have, uh, right? And uh, by 2027 December, when we have all the SOPs and all the systems in place, uh, we are going to make it open source and open it for licensing. So any project developer can come to us and say, I want to deploy your infrastructure, and it's plug and play after that. So that's the whole story.
Wonderful. Thank you, Navid. Uh, I see a lot of questions coming up on the chat window, and
Okay.
we'll give them time to ask, and they can slowly unmute their mic and ask. But I had a few to start with. So I think you've taken us through your journey way back from 2018, 2019, all the way from when CSI announced its first methodology to now. I think where a lot more registries are out in the open with their own methodologies, open kiln, closed kiln, distributed. And it's also nice to see that you have picked Isometrics new distributed kiln methodology. So it signals where the industry is going. So one of the question uh, that was asked by Venkat also on the chat window, and also I had is you talked about the challenges of selling a open kiln methodology generated credits. So Venkat asks why artisanal credits are not sold as fast as industrial grade credits. I think you partly answered that, but he goes on to describe if it is due to buyer preference or quality of credit, or is the industry shifting? Uh, any thoughts?
It's the evidence chain.
Evidence
The
check.
evidence is not strong enough. The
That's
CSI evidence is, I can fudge it, right? If somebody wants to fudge the evidence, it's very easy to fudge. See, when you have to look at anything where credibility is the value, right? The credibility, uh, you go ahead and design a system where you are not dependent on the honesty of the operator, right? Because I'm not saying people are dishonest. What I'm saying is there is a huge incentive for people to fudge evidence if they can. And the buyer is looking at that.
so that does that mean that a method that's done honestly and with integrity still has a chance? A developer that has done
No, the thing is that you have to take away the honesty and integrity from the evidence chain. Okay,
the
you
data
do
shows.
not depend on honesty.
Yeah.
You depend on what is actually the data that is coming through. Okay? And if the data can be fudged, then honesty really has no value. You're talking, you're talking a, a, a third word uh, situation where 1,000 rupees matters a lot to the farmer, right? And you are testing his honesty and his integrity. Don't test it because he will not be able to afford it. Even if he is honest, you are giving him an incentive to be dishonest. Don't do that. So, if you leave 1,000 rupees on a pavement, you are testing the integrity of everybody who's passing through. Why do you want to do that? Right? Even an honest person can have a moment where he's not honest. So that's how I look at it.
Wonderful. So you also talked about Karthik. If you want to ask your question about the H by C ratio and everything, you could unmute and go ahead to ask it.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Yeah, so it
Hello.
was a very good evening. So, I'd like to
I
understand,
thought
yeah, what is the H by C ratio you're achieving, hydrogen to carbon ratio?
we will make everything public by the end of this year, Karthik.
Okay,
We are still in the testing phase,
gotcha.
but the HCOG ratio is under zero point 0.4.
Okay, H per GK.
Yeah. So we are in, and we're talking 20 different feedstocks. We're not limited to one feedstock. So the reactor that we have developed is basically tunable for the feedstock. We are still developing the SOPs. We're still working on the testing part of it. But you can handle anything from arecanut husk to coffee prunings and mulberry prunings and hardwood in the same reactor with very few adjustments.
So, how much can it handle in per day, like capacity?
So the volume of uh, and what you have to look at is the volume when you have a combustion chamber. The volume is half a tractor load is what we were aiming for. So it doesn't matter what feedstock you're bringing in. If you're bringing one tractor load, you can process it in 3 hours.
Mhm. Great.
Thank you,
Navid,
Karthik.
Does
Very
this
Navid,
answer your
yeah.
question, Karthik?
Yeah, fine, fine. Thank you.
Navidji, I had a question about the operational model and
Hmm.
some numbers to imagine for us. So, if a farmer is, say, bringing their feedstock, how does it work? What do they get in return?
Okay.
And how, I
So
mean,
the
there are, and
farmer,
also, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yes. No, no, please finish your question.
Yeah, so there are so many people involved in the chain. There's a farmer, there is the village level entrepreneur that is running the model. There is you who's sitting there providing the infrastructure. There is the standards, there is a marketplace, and everybody is going to take a share of the credit. And so can you also, that was the second part of the question. What is the farmer
Okay.
getting? What is everybody getting? So that we have the whole picture and we can
Sure,
go further.
sure,
Yeah, thank you.
sure,
Yeah, yeah.
sure. So my math right now, and I'm not saying that this is cast in stone, uh, is 30% of the revenue from the carbon credit. Well, the first thing, 10% goes to isometric, of course, right? Uh, and that's their fee. Uh, 30% of the carbon credit goes to the farmer, 30% comes to us, and 40% goes to the operator of that unit. Now, if we are operating that unit, we'll be getting it. If a project developer is operating that unit, he or she will be getting it. If it's a village level entrepreneur operating that unit, then he or she will be getting it. That is what I have in mind till now. It's not tested on the ground yet, but I think that's a fair distribution because the village level entrepreneur needs to have a bigger share of the carbon credit revenue. So that's the basic distribution. 70% goes to the village, 30% comes to us.
And what is the timeline you're expecting? The farmer brings their tractor, which is a unit, of biomass. When do they expect some return? Do they get the biochar back? How much do they get? Plus the carbon credit, how do you structure that?
Yes, yes. So the farmer brings, so the farmer brings a tractor load of biomass, let's say in the morning, right? And depending on the density of the biomass, if it's hardwood, it takes a little longer. It might take 1.5 hours for the whole thing to get converted. So half a tractor load to get converted. So let's say 3 hours plus an hour, 4 hours for one tractor load of half of hardwood. If it is something a lot more lighter, like arecanut husk or coconut husk, it will take about three. It will take. It can vary from 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. So within half day, a farmer can process a tractor load of biomass. Uh, the, the farmer takes away 90% of the biochar that is produced. He leaves behind 10% as the fee for the processing for the village level entrepreneur or the project developer who has put up the unit.
Right.
So that's the distribution there. So if and the calculation for the village level entrepreneur, the project developer that we have done is in terms of recovering the capital expense of setting up the unit is about 18 months for him to recover that cost, 5 to 6 lakhs of the capex that he's put in uh, through only carbon credits. The biochar that he's collecting is an extra, and we have calculated this on a basis of 200 days of work and 100 tons of biochar production.
Okay. Okay. And do we expect the farmer to take the raw biochar, or in your words, you said nutrient injection, and some of us call it charging, some of us call it inoculation. Is the expectation that the farmer takes the raw biochar and they do the charging themselves? Do you
Yes.
sell the microbes as well, all the other extra stuff to charge it?
No.
This is just purely a raw biochar transaction there.
He just brings the biomass, converts it into biochar, and takes it away.
Okay. And in your experience so far with the artisanal Kontiki, what you've been through, the community is able to charge it themselves with whatever bioinoculates.
Once you show them,
okay.
Once you show them,
okay.
they understand. All we tell them is do a 1:1 addition of manure.
Okay.
So if it is 1 ton of biochar, put 1 ton of cow manure, or if you are doing charging with, let's say, chemical fertilizers, NPK, right? So we give them the ratio. This is how much of NPK you should put in,
right.
and once they learn it and they understand why we are telling them to charge it with nutrients, they do it themselves.
Okay.
Farmers are the smartest people you can meet anywhere.
Okay, got it, got it. In the same manner, with the expectations of them bringing the biomass, do you expect any pre-processing to be done, or are you able to take any sizes? You're fine with that. I mean, or do you have some expectation that they will chop it into, like a 6-inch, 10-inch, or a, 2 feet piece of, biomass?
Well, most of the biomass that comes is so. For example, if we are talking coconut husk or arecanut husk, or let's say mulberry prunings, they're already pretty small. They're not huge amount. If it is hardwood, then you have to process it into smaller pieces. Okay. Otherwise, most of the stuff that comes and that you see piled up next to a field is, as long as it is homogeneous, meaning we can't really mix feedstock. So if he's bringing uh, coconut leaves and coconut shells, we process it in two different batches because the density is different, right? It's not going to my tuning of the reactor has to be consistent if I am to produce a good quality biochar out of it with low emissions. So as long as it is homogeneous, even if it is small amount, like even if my combustion chamber is filled only with half the stuff that we bring, that's fine. But if he's bringing two, three different kinds of biomass, then we just separate it and we process it separately. But in terms of sizing, it's not very complicated. As long as
Okay.
it goes into the combustion chamber, we can handle it.
Got it. Navedji, I'm going to open the floor for questions now. We have heard you, and you've given quite a bit, vivid picture of everything from the start to the end almost. And I just want to open the floor for questions. We have people in YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. Those who are listening there, please type your questions in the chat box or the comment box, and we'll pick it up and ask Navedji. Those who are on Zoom can unmute themselves or ask in the chat box here. मैं हिंदी में भी लोग को encourage करता हूँ, किसी को हिंदी में सवाल पूछना है, नवेद जी is fluent in हिंदी, एंड आप लोग जो YouTube, Facebook और LinkedIn में देख रहे हैं, आप हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हैं सवाल. सॉरी, ये टाइम हम पूरा सेशन इंग्लिश में किया, लेकिन आगे जाके हम हिंदी में भी करेंगे. इसमें हिंदी में काफी नीड है हमें करने के लिए, तो हम क्षमा चाहते हैं कि हम लोग अंग्रेजी में कर रहे हैं ये बात, लेकिन आगे जाके हमारा ये रहेगा कि हिंदी में भी काफी सेशंस इस टॉपिक में करें. तो अभी कोई प्रश्न है तो जो यूट्यूब में, फेसबुक और लिंक्डइन में, वो आपने चैट बॉक्स, कमेंट बॉक्स में डालिए. दोज हु आर इन Zoom can unmute themselves and ask.
Krishna sir, shall I ask a question, sir?
Yeah, go ahead, Ajit ji. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Give me permission. Actually, sir, thanks for very informative information on this biochar. I have three questions. First is, as you said, that already आपने काफी जगह पे आपने चालू किया है, जिसमें already some farmers, these groups are there producing the biochar. So can we have a look out this thing? Where are these areas where actually this active your model is working? Secondly, what is the infrastructure and investment required for this putting up this plant? And third one is whether this biochar, I heard that just to have a carbon, carbon footprint, to reduce the carbon footprint, whether this can be used in a concrete.
Right. So the first question I'll answer. You can go to our website. आप वहाँ पे देख सकते हैं. We have a page where we have actually put up a KML file where you can look at the locations where we are active. If you go to Ecosys.Earth, you will be able to find the location. I've already put it on the website. Your second question was, can you repeat that question? Sorry.
What is the infrastructure and required and tentative investment for that also?
So the investment, like I said, for the layer, for start making biochar, you don't need any investment. आप एक गड्ढा खोदिए. You're comfortable in Hindi or English?
Yeah, so okay, sir, no problem. You can go in Hindi, English.
If you just make a pit, if you just make a pit,
yeah,
4 feet diameter at the bottom, 4 feet depth, 8 feet diameter at the top.
I see.
If you make that pit and you start burning biochar from the bottom and start layering it, don't let any ash form. If you look at our website also, you will be able to see the video where we have shown this whole process.
Yeah. So sorry for disturbing you, sir. Can we have a look exactly, because already this you're explaining whether whether we can make a visit of this already working your models.
You can, but you'll have to come to Bangalore.
Oh yes, sir, definitely. Yeah.
Not a problem. Anytime you want to come and visit us, we are open for anybody who's interested in biochar.
Yes, sir. That will be more comfortable. So if we actually have a look, then we can understand thoroughly. That will be better.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what you can do also is send in your email request or a message request,
Huh.
and I will answer each of your questions on email.
Oh, definitely, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir, last question, मुझे actually पूछना था whether this can be this biochar. I heard that it will be used, can be used as a aggregate substitute in
It can be
concrete.
used. You can substitute
Huh.
up to 20% of cement
Yeah.
in concrete. Uh, in concrete.
No, in the exactly in masonry work or in the plastering work.
नहीं जब आप concrete बनाते हैं, when you make concrete,
I say,
when you
there.
make the concrete, substitute 20%, up to 20% of cement, and
Yeah.
you can put in biochar. Provided the granules are fine, they have to be fine, like powder.
Okay, thank you, sir. The last question, this thing, if I don't mind. Actually, I come from Kolhapur. This is in Maharashtra. We are flooded with this thing, sugarcane trash. Lot of
Yes.
this thing actually. Right now, the people are burning out there. They are trying to compost, but it's very difficult to compost. It is taking very
Yes.
long time.
No, it doesn't
So,
compost.
and what I've seen actually that it's year-old technology was people were this thing they're putting their fire after the sugarcane is cut this thing, but that time it was this thing not properly biochar. Actually, that was it was burned half like that. So now you have developed the technology. Whether because only thing that I want to ask because that is a very light in density that material. So how
Yes.
to move with this thing to make convert it a biochar, especially cane trash? How to do it?
Yeah, you're talking about the cane leaves that are left behind on the field after the cane
Right.
is harvested.
Yeah, harvest.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. See, what will happen is when you are converting it using the quantity method, depending on the density of the biomass, you have to determine how fast you have to layer it. So if you are doing something which is light, like the leaves of a sugarcane leftover, which you just lop off and then you load it on the tractor and the cane goes and all the leaves are lying on the field.
Yeah.
The only difference in a quantity situation is, and I again request you to send us a message or an email where we can share the video with you, is how fast you are doing the pyrolysis. So if you layer it fast, even very light material like even leaves, dried leaves, you can convert into biochar.
I see. So if I convert it this because right now we are making it bales because after this removing, harvesting new that the cane trash is removed by making the bales. So if I compact it, makes it density, that's mean densified bales. Whether it will
Yes.
be more easier to this thing convert it to the biochar
No, you don't
rather
have to
than
do
lose one.
bale. You don't have to do a bale. You can do just loose. See, when you do a bale, what is happening is in the center of the bale, there is biomass which will not get converted.
I see.
Right? So you have to layer it. What we are telling you is that when you are using a quantity which is a low cost available method anywhere, and anybody can use it, you have to layer it. If you put a bale in there, you will burn the outside and the inside will remain unprocessed.
Yeah. That you mean to say that it should be in a loose form, not in a bale or compact
In a
form.
loose form. Because you're layering it. No, it's like layer by layer you're putting.
Yeah. And so last question, whether we can use a multi-biomass, that means cane trash plus a wheat husk and the rice husk or different types of, or we
In
should
a
have
quantity situation, you can. See, everything depends on the operator's skill in the quantity situation. Because if you are skilled, you are able to manage the flame curtain and your biochar will be good quality. If you are not skilled, you will get a lot of ash and you will get a lot of unprocessed matter. So
thank you, sir.
If you practice it a little bit, then you'll be able to do it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Krishna, sir, thanks for permitting me.
Thank you, Ajit-ji. Anybody else who have questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. People have posted in the chat. I can take that. Abaso ji, आपको पूछना है तो आप हिंदी में सवाल पूछ सकते हैं. आपने चैट में डाला है क्वेश्चन। तो आबासु जी पूछ रहे हैं कि एग्रीकल्चर बेनिफिट्स कार्बन क्रेडिट्स के अलावा क्या है। नावेद जी, आपने क्या देखा है, आपकी तरफ किसान लोग कैसे यूज कर रहे हैं बायोचार को और उनका क्या रिजल्ट आया है?
Should I answer in Hindi?
प्लीज प्लीज।
Okay. मेन डिफरेंस क्या होता है बायोचार डालने से? ये अभी हमारा मौसम चेंज हो रहा है, क्लाइमेट इज चेंजिंग, राइट? ज्यादा ज्यादा बारिश एक दिन होती है और फिर बहुत दिन तक सख्त गर्मी होती है, तो बहुत ड्राई हो जाता है। मेन चीज क्या बायोचार कर रहा है इज दैट वो पानी को एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है, स्पॉन्ज की तरह है, राइट? तो पानी को एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है और आपका जो फर्टिलाइजर आप डाल रहे हैं उसको एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है। तो मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव बायोचार का क्या है? वो किसान को क्लाइमेट चेंज से बचा रहा है, कि वो जो भी क्लाइमेट चेंज का जो जो इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है वो कैसे होता है। अभी देखिए, जोर की बारिश होती है, 3 दिन पूरा आपका खेत में पानी भर जाता है और उसके बाद 1 महीना तक तेज धूप है, वो आपकी जमीन क्रैक करती है। अगर आप 3-4 साल से कंटिन्यूसली बायोचार बना के उसके अंदर डाल रहे हैं, आप देखेंगे कि वो एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है पानी को और एब्जॉर्ब करके अपने अंदर रखता है। 1 एकड़ ऑफ बायोचार फील्ड, 1 एकड़ बायोचार फील्ड 25,000 लीटर ऑफ वाटर होल्ड कर सकता है फॉर 30-40 डेज। तो आप समझ रहे कि क्लाइमेट चेंज का जो प्रॉब्लम हमारे सामने आ रहा है, उसको अगर फार्मर, छोटे फार्मर को फेस करना है, तो उसको कार्बन बढ़ाना है अपनी जमीन में। अगर वो कार्बन नहीं बढ़ाएगा तो पहली बात तो वो कभी भी सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि वो क्लाइमेट ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है, राइट? सेकंड इज, आप आपको अप टू 30% रिडक्शन इन पानी यूसेज हो जाता है। मतलब आपको 30% कम पानी यूज करना है और 30% तक आपका फर्टिलाइजर कम हो जाता है। और मैं ये सब बात बता रहा हूँ आपको, लेकिन ये सब थियरी है, आप खुद करके देखिए। आप 30 दिन के बाद अपना पौधा निकाल के देखिए उसकी जड़ की क्या क्या हालत है, और बगैर बायोचार के एक आप पौधा लगाइए, उसकी देखिए आप जड़ कितनी बड़ी है। अगर 1 फुट की जड़ होगी बायोचार के पौधे की, तो आपके बगैर बायोचार के पौधे की जड़ 3 इंच की होगी। तो आप समझ रहे हैं क्या हो रहा है? आपका पौधा स्ट्रांग हो रहा है और वो जल्दी मरेगा नहीं। मतलब अगर ऊपर नीचे मौसम होता है तो वो बर्दाश्त कर लेता है उसको। इट कैन टेक दैट हीट एंड इट कैन टेक दैट एक्सेसिव वाटर। सो आपको अगर अपने खेत को, अपने फसल को क्लाइमेट चेंज से बचाना है, तो आपको कार्बन बढ़ाना है आपकी जमीन में। कार्बन आपका खत्म हो गया है, राइट? आपका कार्बन अभी 0.4-0.5% पे है और आपकी सॉइल बहुत एसिडिक हो गई है। उसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है? आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा यूरिया डाल रहे हैं उसके अंदर, लेकिन वो यूरिया आपका पौधा एब्जॉर्ब नहीं कर रहा है। क्यों नहीं एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है? इसलिए नहीं एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है क्योंकि आपकी जमीन के अंदर कोई जिंदा चीज नहीं है। अगर फंगाई नहीं है, बैक्टीरिया नहीं है, ऑर्गेनिजम्स नहीं है, माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स नहीं है, तो आपका पौधा नहीं एब्जॉर्ब कर सकता है। चाहे आप जितना भी फर्टिलाइजर डालो, वो पौधा तभी एब्जॉर्ब कर सकता है जब आप उसके, कैसा होता है न्यूट्रिशन, कैसे लेता है पौधा? पौधा डायरेक्टली न्यूट्रिशन नहीं लेता है, न्यूट्रिशन बैक्टीरिया लेता है और बैक्टीरिया पास ऑन करता है जड़ों के अंदर। ये प्रोसेस है नेचर का। अगर आप जाके जंगल में देखिए और आप एक एक हाथ से सॉइल निकालिए, वो सॉइल के अंदर इतना इतना ऑर्गेनिज्म है, इतनी जिंदा चीजें हैं, कि वो, दुनिया में जितने लोग रह रहे हैं उससे ज्यादा वो आपके हाथ में वो ऑर्गेनिज्म है. The number of organisms in a living soil is more than the people on earth. तो आपको वापस जिंदा चीज डालनी है जमीन के अंदर. वो जमीन के अंदर नहीं है अगर जिंदा चीज, तो आपकी जमीन मर चुकी है, उसके अंदर कुछ नहीं है. आप जो कर लीजिए उसमें कुछ नहीं होगा. I think I answered the question.
Yes, that was very good. Thank you. Very vivid. Thank you very much. I'll go to the next question from Alex, who's saying that is there any additional energy needs for the reactor, or is it self-sufficient?
No, it's self-combustion. No energy
Okay.
need.
Okay. Next question is for cotton and red gram stock. What is the maximum size accepted in the reactor?
It depends on the density of the biomass, but anything 1 or 2 feet in length is acceptable.
Okay. Got a question from YouTube, which is on wood vinegar. What is your comment on wood vinegar? What is your experience has been so far? I'm assuming with Contiki it's not possible, but the question is on that.
Even in our reactor, it is not possible, wood vinegar.
Okay.
Yeah, because wood vinegar is good, but it needs electrification. In our situation, when we go to a village, electrification is a hit and miss thing. So the moment we build a reactor that depends on electrification, our capex goes high, and our dependence on electrification goes high. So what we have designed is something that does not need electrification and therefore does not produce wood vinegar or syngas.
The next question I have is your reactor also certified by the standard?
It will be by December.
Achha. Yeah, does a standard also say
after the testing is done? Yes.
I see. I see. Do they need certification for each stage then? Is that how it works? Sorry, I'm a bit,
No, so they certify the whole system. So the reactor, the hardware, and the software all get certified as a layer.
Achha. All right. Got it. What is the thought process behind leaving 10% for the village level entrepreneur? You said 90% of the biochar, the farmer, takes it back.
When you give, Anand, when you give something free to the farmer,
right,
the farmer does not value it.
Right.
Very simple.
Right.
I don't want the 10%, but there has to be a fee. And especially in a cluster where trading has happened, if I am doing 100 tons of biochar, 10 tons of biochar at 10 rupees a kilo is 1 lakh rupees. That pays the operator. So the village level entrepreneur covers that cost just the biochar.
Got it. Got it. And the reason for giving them the 40% of the share in the whole thing is because you feel they are doing the maximum.
They're making the investment.
Right.
They're running it. It's not something which is easy.
Right.
I'm not expecting. So they need to be rewarded for the work that they are doing.
Got it. Got it. There's another question from Facebook. This is from Akash, who's saying, what's the life of the reactor? Is there a life? Because I'm assuming Contiki has certain births. Do you have a life as well as a reactor?
Well, we've just invented it, so we don't know how long it's going to last.
Okay, got it.
But there is what I've done is the combustion chamber is lined with refractory mortar. That is where the wear and tear will happen. It has 2 layers of refractory mortar, right, which can withstand temperatures up to 1200 degrees. What I'm expecting is, and what we are seeing right now in our testing, is that the first layer disintegrates. The masonry never gets affected because there's a second layer protecting it, right? And all you have to do is plaster the first layer back. So it's maintenance, essentially. The life of the reactor is I don't know how long it's going to last, but I don't think it's going to disintegrate because what we've done is the heat exposed parts are treated as consumables.
Got it. So do you see any future for Contiki at all, Navedji? I mean, you have
No,
experience with, do you see a play for
Contiki is
it?
fantastic. Contiki is fantastic if you're not looking at connecting farmers with carbon credits.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, it's wonderful for introduction. That's what we use all the time. When you go to a village, you don't want to build a reactor there, right? Because Contiki, if I show them how to do it, they will follow it. But the buyers are not buying it.
right, got it.
So if I have to connect them to and give them the in a half day's work, when a farmer brings a tractor load of biomass to our reactor and he processes it in the reactor, in half day's work he can make 2, 3, 4,000 rupees. Right? Quantity you cannot. And our model is when the isometric approves us and our SOPs are done and everything is in shape, we should be able to deliver the money to the farmer and to the village level entrepreneur on a monthly basis. So somebody who wants 2, 3, 4,000 rupees at the end of the month, and tell me a farmer who does not want it.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
everything
Right.
helps. Yep.
All he has to do is find some biomass. And there are, if you go in any village in India, I'm not talking about, say, uh, Rajasthan or even Rajasthan, for example, right? How long does a farmer need to work to cut lantana or acacia or uh, Julifera process, a tractor load, bring it to a reactor, process it, and end of the month take 3,000 rupees.
Right.
Right. So what we are doing is we are basically incentivizing them to use all the weeds in
Right.
their area, and the weeds is a huge problem in
Right.
our villages, right?
Right.
In the whole of countryside of India.
Right.
Right. Right outside my farm, you've got lantana growing, and we just harvest it and process it.
Right.
Right. So what we are trying to do is tell the farmer, listen, all you need, bring a tractor load of anything to the reactor and take your money end of the month. It's like having a cow, basically. Why does a person keep a cow in the village? Because he sells that money to Mother Dairy or to, any other dairy. And end of the month, he gets 500, 600, 700 rupees. That's what they live off, right? This is their uh, livelihood.
Got it.
Our farmers cannot depend on crops anymore
Right.
because tomatoes, if you're growing, you might not even have money enough to pay for the transport to take it to the mandi,
Right.
right? Because the price there has fallen to 1 rupees, 2 rupees a kilo. So all the money that the farmer makes in his field is being taken away by people who are selling it.
Right.
So it's helpless.
Right. So when you look at it from the VLE side, are we envisioning this as you said 200 days of working in a year? Is it, I mean, are we expecting biomass supply for 200 days of the year? I mean, cotton, all these crops are all seasonal biomass. So how do you, I mean, are you envisioning lantana to come or some tree prunings
So I mean,
and
it will work in some situations,
yeah,
and will not work in some situations.
okay,
Right?
okay,
We're not expecting every village level entrepreneur who deploys it will be able uh, and we will try and advise them as we gain a more experience in terms of deployment, whether it works in this situation or not, right?
right,
And do a kind of a study in that location before we deploy it. But right now, we don't know where it's going to work and where it's not going to work, right?
okay,
So, for example, we are first targeting the areca nut belt of Karnataka, right? On the sides of the roads, there are hundreds and thousands of tons of areca nut husk lying, right? Very easy for people to create a viable enterprise out of that. Maybe in some situations there is no biomass, right? Or there is less biomass. In that situation, how do we support the farmers there, and and can they grow biomass? Uh, can they generate it? Can they harvest it from forest? Can they get it from sides of the roads? Are there enough weeds growing? My experience has been that I see weeds everywhere, whether it is Parthenium, whether it is any. So my first objective when designing the reactor was I should be able to handle everything, right? And because I can't say that I can't handle Parthenium. Yeah. And it's a huge ecosystem service that a farmer is doing if he's taking out Parthenium from the side of the road and processing it into biochar, right? So it's not just money he's making. We are just creating the mechanism for ecosystem restoration.
Got it.
That's it.
Got it. And we'll have to come back to you on that for a separate session, because ecosystem restoration, we'll have to slice and dice it, because you have a lot of philosophical, opinions on it and your experience on it as well. And it's quite exciting. So where do you evolve from here? I mean, you built the reactor. You're saying you won't do wood vinegar. What is the evolution do you see as a path ahead, or is it too early to talk about it right now?
Yeah. So where we are going basically with this is we are trying to create the infrastructure layers for this middle pathway, which is village level but industrial grade evidence, right? And the objective is how can I give good quality biochar to the farmer and a good quality carbon credit to the buyer, right? And if we are able to do that in the next 5 years to 10,000 reactors, then I think I've done my life's work, right?
Yeah.
But you're saying where do you want to go from there is a different story, because the reason we are doing biochar is it does multiple things, right? It not just does livelihood, it not just does income to the farmer, it not just improves farmland and yield and reduces fertilizer and water. It also saving water, saving the soil, and saving microbial biodiversity in the soil. If we are doing carbon, soil, water, and biodiversity, these are the four pillars on which every civilization is built, right? If we don't have one of these pillars, our civilization is going to collapse. So we need all four of these pillars. Biochar does all these four pillars. How do I take soil, water, and biodiversity to a measurement or credibility level in terms of evidence of improvement in the baseline to where the carbon is today? So we know that 1 ton of carbon, if you are sequestering, you get 1 carbon credit. There are many people who are working on soil and water and ecosystem and biodiversity credits, right? This is a pathway that can take you to all the four pillars, right? And that is the reason we have chosen it. And this is why we are called Ecosys, because we want a consolidated ecosystem credit.
Brilliant.
If all these four things are happening, then what is the value?
Love it. Brilliant. Brilliant. And biochar is there in all four.
That's the next step.
Right. Right. Brilliant. Just one question on gender before I take a technical question. We are seeing an increasing feminization of Indian agriculture. Men are gone to the migration to cities or whatever. So how is that a design criteria for you for the reactor, for the process as well, end to end, to see a wholly women run, as an enterprise, or a women farmers coming? Are you designing it as a criteria?
Women have always been running Indian farms. most of the work, if you go to a village, you will see the women are doing it,
Right.
right? Men are sitting on the side of the road and smoking and
Right.
having tea, right? Or now they're on smartphones, right? Women do the housework and go to the field, right? So the way our system is designed is a woman entrepreneur can run it. It is not gender specific to men. It does not require physical strength, right? Because when a farmer brings in his biomass, he has to do most of the work, right? And most of the work that we are doing is mechanized through very simple procedures. The loading and the unloading is very simple, right? There is zero human interference during the process. The hardware, the software, and the reactor does everything. So it is not gender specific. You don't need physical strength to use it, and we have consciously designed it like that, so that basically remove all the barriers. Even men don't like physical work that much, right? So, so basically design it in a way where there are so few barriers that you would be, really incentivized to go and use it. Because what we are saying to the farmer is, you can use the quantity which we have taught you to make biochar on your
Right.
field.
Right.
You don't have to bring it to our reactor, right?
Right.
If you bring it to the reactor, you get some cash.
Right.
That's the only thing we're telling the farmer, and that's our pitch to them. You know you need the biochar. Do you want also some money?
Right.
That's it.
Does a distributed model that the Isometric put out recently, do they talk about community benefits very specifically? I mean, I don't want to get too much detail, but just very high level. Is there any
The
specific?
valuation is not there yet.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. There is distributed village level biochar is still 15-20% less than industrial.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And that's a reality, because the costs are less. So I don't. In fact, my idea is that the costs should reduce even further, so that more and more buyers can participate in it. Right. It becomes more competitive. How do I reduce the cost without impacting the income of the farmer? Right. So if it's at $80 right now, the distributed one and the industrial one is 120 or $100 per ton. How can I bring it to 50? Right. So that you get more impact, more people participate. It becomes more competitive. Right now, carbon removal is very expensive. Right. And that's why you only have people like Google and Microsoft and people like that who have like 80% profit margin participate in it. I want people who have 20% margins also to participate in it. Right? They should also get to think about net zero and all that. So that's what it is. It The price has to come down. And one more thing I want to say. You know what? When the solar was introduced, you could generate carbon credits through installing solar panels, right? No more, because it's
Yes.
cheaper, right?
Yes. Yes.
Same thing will happen with biochar.
Got it.
My objective is carbon credits should go away. The commodity itself is so valuable. It should have a market of itself. It needs carbon credit support right now because it doesn't have a value of its own. People are not aware what it can do for you, right? Once that awareness comes in, and the value of the commodity itself becomes, attractive, carbon credits will slowly move away. In 15 years' time, there will be no more carbon credits if we are
Right.
successful, hopefully, right? The commodity itself will drive the market.
Will we go towards ecosystem credits then, do you feel? more a holistic
The
view.
idea, yeah, the idea is to make. See, we will not be able to stop climate change anymore, right? We are already at 1.5 degrees, right? We will be soon be on 2 degrees increase in climate. What we have to do now is adapt, and the people who need the maximum help in the adaptation are the small farmers in third world countries, because they are growing the food for a large portion of the Earth's population. If they collapse, then everything collapses.
Yep.
Right? So what we want to do is, I mean, the, our focus. We have to understand where our focus should be. Right?
Right, right.
It should not be on carbon credit markets. What are we trying to do is what we know. Are we trying to solve a problem, or are we trying to, you know, build a good dashboard?
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll take a last round of questions before we stop, because we can keep talking and, there's so much to talk about, so many questions. I'll have to have you back, and you'll have to come back for Hindi. I'm telling that publicly here. We have to do it in Hindi as well,
Sure,
because we have
sure.
got a lot of requests for that. Anybody have any questions? Last round, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, you can. If not, I'll be asking Navedji for his contact and email, which you can, take forward, either go through that means to talk to him later. Alex, you had a question. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, the question is on the
Sorry, that was not very clear.
Yeah, your audio is not
so,
clear, Alex.
can you use the Parthenium just as it cut, or does it need to be dried before you use it?
See, the moisture
it's
has to be
about
below 15%. Yes. Any feedstock, even if it's Parthenium, yeah, the moisture should not be more than 15%.
And how long will that take about drying in the sun? You think it's over a day or two?
It depends on what kind of atmosphere you are drying it in. If it's sunny and dry weather, Parthenium especially will dry very quickly because it's a very light material.
Okay. Okay, I think on that note, Navedji, do you want to share any contact that people can reach you either by WhatsApp or through email?
Yes. My email is naved@ecosys.earth. We can probably share it on the screen if it's required. And any questions anybody has, you can also go to Ecosys.Earth, which is our website, and post any questions there to info@ecosys.earth, and we will get back to everybody. I am also on LinkedIn, where you can send me messages. Maybe we could share that contact also, Anand.
Yeah, we can. I've shared your email here.
Yeah.
I think that should be good enough. And your website was, you answered me very quickly when I reached out to you. So Navedji, Tejas is not able to come. He felt sick. He had a long day traveling, so he was battling some sickness. So he was supposed to close the session. But yeah, I'll close it for him. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your experience. We wish you well. We want you back, obviously, to come back and do it in Hindi and to get more deeper into some of these topics that are a little evolved. And we have not come to that point, and you have traveled that a little further than us. So I appreciate your time, and do come back again. Thank you.
Anytime you want.
And for everybody else, we'll see you next Saturday again on this topic we're all passionate about. I'm Anand from Shekru Foundation, and I want to say thanks to Tejas from 2.0 and Navedji from Ecosys.Earth. Thanks again. Good night, sir.
Thank you, Anand.